to another episode of Enjoy Ty.
Let's roll call.
Right, that's what it feels like.
Taryn.
What's your name? And yep, you got both of them.
Hey everybody, thank you for coming back to another episode of Enjoy.
Yeah, it's been a while since we had to sit down like this. We've done a lot of out and about videos. The last one you saw was probably the V-Back story. So if you haven't seen it, please watch it because it was an amazing thing that happened during that birthing process. And you see the manifestation of it here. A healthy little baby boy who is growing super fast.
Almost
Look at
4
all this
months, you guys.
chunk.
Only like a few days away. He'll be 4 months.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it. Like the time is just going by super fast.
Yeah. Taylor has been a great big sister.
Yes.
Sometimes better than needed.
Yeah. When
Better
people
than big
ask,
sister than asked for.
yeah, I usually say like she's more help than we need.
Yeah.
But we can appreciate that, especially that it's not the opposite of
Oh
that.
yeah,
So,
or jealous.
I'll take that.
She loves her little
loves
brother.
her brother.
She especially loves the sloppy black kid.
Yeah, I can appreciate it, and I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, but things are going well. Thank you guys for your support.
Yeah.
Thank you, new subscribers.
Thank you. Thanks for joining the
And thank you guys. Yeah, thank you, Enjoyables, who always tune in to our shows. Today's a little different because we're going to be we actually posted some stuff on social media to ask people what you wanted our next show to be. So this is the first time that we actually allowed you to choose the topic. So we're going to be talking about this right here, all of this, balancing all of this. And so we'll get into it in a moment.
Yeah.
So we got a few questions on social media. Well, not questions, we asked everybody to chime in on what the topic should be. And a good amount of them, or at least 3 of them, were very similar. And then one of them we'll try to tie in. But the ones that were similar was, how do you balance ministry, family, kids, work, just kind of the whole dynamic. And then another question was, how do you balance the change from in your relationship from once you have a child, or factoring in kids before and after? So kind of that, yeah, all of that. So just concerning the balance. Just concerning balance, the first point that we want to make, or the first thing that we want to say, is the power of no.
No. Say it with us right now. No. Sorry.
Nah.
Actually, I just had a conversation with somebody about saying no. And they recently had, somebody come to them saying, can you do this? We would like for you to support, da-da-da. And she told me, she said, it felt so good to say no.
And I got to tell you, like, I know it sounds really harsh, really blunt, and it does sound mean, but coming from somebody who hated to tell people no, I hated to feel like I was letting somebody down.
Me too.
To the point where I was wearing myself out. I found myself committing to a lot of things because I had already committed before we got married. So I felt like I had to keep it up instead of factoring in where we were in our relationship and what things I had to balance out to make this work. So it wasn't until we really got to a point where I think on average per week, we were seeing each other maybe twice. On a good week, maybe 3 times in a week, where we were actually at home at the same time, sharing the same space, actually talking. How was your day? How was your week? And not just passing each other on the way to sleep or eating dinner.
The interesting thing about that for me was, before we got married, I had a lot on my plate. But being that I relocated from Alabama to Virginia, everything that I was doing, I was probably involved in, I was involved in church, I was on the praise team, I was on the dance ministry. I also helped one of my friends with her actual dance business, on top of everything else that, I had going on. And so when I moved to Virginia, it was just like, everything just stopped.
Because she was commuting to Northern Virginia, it wasn't really feasible for her to be involved or active at the church, because that would be a 2-hour drive just to make something. And she would get
not about that life.
that would have been too tough.
Unless the Lord would have told me to do it.
Yeah, and so it's one thing if you're a couple and both of you are serving at church, so you're both there together.
Yeah.
If you're a family, everybody's serving, so you're kind of there together. But if one is there and one is not, then you have to kind of sort out your priorities. Not to say that you should break everything that you're doing with the church, or if it's your job, or if it's school, or if it's, you know, something else. You know, we started a ministry, you know, just almost 2 months ago, that we're heading up. And so that is a business by itself. You know, coordinating, planning, you know, family. We got a new baby boy. He's about to be 4 months, you know, on top of a 3-year-old. So we're balancing family. We're balancing work, because Taryn still commutes. And so then trying to factor in date nights, trying to factor in family time, you know, all of that is
activities for Taylor.
Exactly.
All of this stuff. And so, yeah, it's been quite an adjustment. Sometimes I think we can get overwhelmed when we think about all the things that we want to do, and that can kind of be like frustrating, because in your mind you're planning out, well, for me, I can speak for myself because I am a planner. It's like I'm planning out all of this stuff in my mind. I want to do this, I want to do that,
Right.
and it can be kind of overwhelming when you don't see what you are, you know, have in your mind to do. You don't see it happening.
right.
So
You plan out the whole day, and then you get like 1 or 2 things done.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But even in that, it's like,
Okay, baby. We're balancing right now.
yep.
She got Tyler right here, and then the other one. Okay, let's try it again.
So you just don't want to allow yourself to get frustrated. But sticking on the subject of no, that's something that we really learned to do.
Yeah.
Just because we have so much, it's important that you also have to tell your family no sometimes. And because, you know, your family, they don't mean any wrong by it, but, you know, when you're with your family or they're having something going on, sometimes it's that natural expectation for you to be there.
And whether it's work, whether it's church, whether it's family, whatever it is, if you don't have your priorities straight, then other people will make priorities for you. Again, saying no, it might sound harsh, but sometimes you have to prevent yourself from wearing yourself thin. I will not allow ministry or church or work or, you know, extended family or whatever it is outside of this house. I won't let it come between our marriage or our family, because to me that's priority. To her, that's priority. And so everything else is, you know, falls second. You know, you treasure whatever you invest your time into, wherever your heart is. You know, that's the thing that you place most value on. And so usually, you know, you have to say no to some other spaces so that you can have time to give to the things that, you know, you value.
So along with that, like as far as when kids come into the picture of a relationship, you know, we were married for maybe like a year and a half before we, you know, got pregnant with Taylor. And then once we had her, we were
2 years in.
2 years in.
Yep.
So of course that was an adjustment with having a baby and just finding that time to still date and to have that time to ourselves. And actually it's even more of a challenge than just being transparent, because we're here in Charlotte and, you know, we don't just have a babysitter on call like that. When we were in Virginia, it was a little
grandparents
easier.
or siblings that we can just kind of drop them to real quick.
But now it's like we have to maximize and be creative with the time that we do have. We date at home,
or we date with them with us, which is technically not a date, but at the same time, you know, we make it work
for this season. It's a season, and that's something that you have to realize.
You know, it's not going to always be like that for you. So this is our season, and it's important for you to know what season that you're in, to be real with yourself. This is my season that I'm in, and make the adjustments that you need to make to keep yourself and your life and your family balanced.
Exactly. So with that transition with having kids, you also have to, a wise man told me that you know your wife as a wife. You knew her as a girlfriend, you knew her as a friend starting off.
Yes.
You started to learn her as a girlfriend. You started to learn her as a fiance. You started to learn her as a wife. So 2 years in, I thought I knew her fairly well, but then once we had a child, now I have to relearn her almost all over again, because now I'm learning the mother aspect, and she's learning the father aspect of me. And so it's a learning curve all over again, which is why once we had our first, we took a break from everything. In that transition, you have to relearn everything because everything is brand spanking new. So again, there's things that you have to say no to. There's priorities you have to set. There's boundaries that you have to set so those boundaries are not violated, because if they are, then it affects the relationship between you and your spouse or your family, or if you're not married, it violates whatever area you're placing value on, then that value will be violated.
And another thing, value will be violated. But another thing on top of that is, as you're coming together, this is specifically for married people. This point I'm about to say. So if you're single, continue to watch, because it's something in here for you too if you haven't already received something. But even for being married and just learning each other all over when you begin to have children and stuff like that, it's important that you have grace. Extend grace and be considerate of one another, because say for example, it's like certain things that I want, our children to experience, certain things that he may want them to experience as well, or our parenting styles. All of that stuff is all involved in that, but keeping it in the theme of having balance and wanting to be able to invest in certain things with our family. We have to, of course, communicate about that type of stuff. Say, for example, Taylor just did swimming lessons. And so, I think that's something that I really wanted her to do. I talked with Ty about it, and he had to be the one to take her to the swimming lessons. And so I just had to make sure that he was going to be in agreement with it, because the lessons were 2 weeks straight in the morning time, and so that was something that he had to agree to do, and we that was the best time that made it work. So I guess
but I think the reason that it worked is, again, what we place value on is family, is her growing and being able to experience different environments, different cultures of people, different venues that she can kind of exercise her creativity and figure out what things she likes. She was taking dance for a while as well. And so because we place value on her creativity and her growth, then that's something that we didn't look down on and say, oh, no, we don't want to pay extra money. Or we don't have time. We don't have time, because you make time for the things that are important to you.
So like Ty was saying, you make time for the things that are important to you. And so for us and me being a planner, I try to plan out, our days. I try to plan out our months, the months to come, and just kind of get an idea of what we're doing. And so one of the things that we do, we actually have a calendar synced together. So if I add something to it, or if he adds something to it, like, we already know what's on the calendar. It's very rare that we even forget to add stuff, because we're so used to it now. And so with that, you want to set the tone in your home. You want to, if you're single, set the tone in your home. If you're married, set that tone together, because it really allows things to flow smoothly when you can set the tone and put things in place and organize, even around your own home.
Yeah, sometimes I joke with some of my friends. They'll be like, yo, we should get up, we should go out, we should do this, we should plan a trip. And I'm just like, you're going to have to give me a 2-month advance. But they laugh and they think it's hilarious. But for me, it's like, I have to have it on the calendar. Even if I got to put it a month out, I have to pencil it in there, because if I don't have it on the calendar, I'm going to forget. It really, really helps to have things kind of mapped out, and for everybody, or at least both of us, to know what's going on this weekend, this week. That way, if I know, hey, I'm not going to see you Tuesday because I got practice, Wednesday because I got to take Taylor, I'm not going to see you Thursday because, we got a meeting, I'm not going to see you Friday. All right, Tuesday night is going to be our night to go out. This is going to be our night. You're right. Which I'm glad you said that. Leave it open, because sometimes, if you plan your schedule very well around, your priorities. If you have an open date, that date is open for a reason, so you can have your family time, or that's your only personal time. It might be your only personal time for that month, especially people who are watching who are super busy, or what we say super productive. Try not to say busy. But for that, people, they'll ask you, hey, well, what are you doing this weekend? And my response isn't normally to go into my whole spiel of what I'm doing. It's normally, why, what's going on? Because sometimes if you give people that opportunity and you tell them exactly what you're doing, then they look for opportunities of where you're open to try to decide.
To take your schedule,
right,
and put themselves on it.
Exactly, and what they,
your schedule,
yeah, they look for an opportunity to say, well, since you're not doing anything, maybe you can do this, and then it's tough for you to say no then because you don't have anything planned.
And then you don't want to lie.
You don't want to lie, but then if you've already scheduled for that day to be your day, then that's priority. And so sometimes people will try to say, oh, you know, you're too busy for me, or, you know, I already know you got a crazy schedule, but, you know, let me decide what's priority. So tell me what's going on, and then let me decide if this is something that I can fit into my schedule. Because again, you make time for what's important. So if it's something that, you know, say, you say, hey, you know, there's this family event going on this weekend. You can bring out all the kids, you can play games, whatever. We don't have to get a babysitter. So that's something that we may be able to fit into the schedule because for that day we had planned on doing something with the family anyway. So priority for us is, okay, we can open up our schedule to do this even though we had some other things planned. But if it doesn't fit into, you know, what we place value on for that week or for that month, then unfortunately it's something that, again, going back to the first thing, we have to say no, but it comes as a result of planning.
And so with trying to find that balance and planning, like I shared earlier, you want to make sure that you give yourself grace and don't become overwhelmed or upset when what you probably plan out and how you normally keep your balance gets off course, because sometimes that will happen. Sometimes, you know, I like to keep a clean house, you know, most of the time, but there are times where
you got two kids.
Yeah, I have two kids, and I have to, you know, tend to.
You got three kids.
Yeah. Oh, you know, he said it. I did not call him a kid. He called himself a kid. But you know, I have to take care of my family with certain things, and so the laundry may not be completely done all the way, or you know, may not be able to clean and tidy up the house like I want. And so, something that you said about TD Jakes. That point that he made was very
it was a very valid point that he made just about juggling. And so sometimes people feel like, well, if I'm just juggling everything every day, then it's not a good thing. But you know, I like the way that he said it, that it's actually not a bad thing. But when juggling becomes a bad thing is when we drop the same area 2 times in a row. So for instance, you know, if today my goal was I need to spend time with my wife because I've been giving myself to my kids all day. But in spending time with my wife, I sacrifice time with my kids. So tomorrow, I'm not going to let 2 days go by and I sacrifice time with my kids. So tomorrow, I'm going to make sure that I have some FaceTime with my kids. I'm rolling on the floor, playing with them. If on a particular day I say, hey, well, you know what, man, I need to give some more time and commitment to the ministry. I need to go over to the church, or, you know, I need to schedule a few meetings. I need to, you know, and I'm in the office, or I'm at a desk, or I'm, you know, mapping out, or I'm planning or working on, you know, a message for the week or whatever. I miss time with my family. And so the next day I make sure, okay, well, today I need to take a break from my notes and spend time with my family. So it's okay to juggle, but just making sure that you don't drop the same ball 2 times in a row, and making sure, but that's still balanced, you know, throughout the week, making sure that everybody in every area gets its time.
So if we could recap this for you, I would say, number 1, know the season that you are in. If you're single, if you're married, know the season that you and your family are in. 2, you want to basically lay out what the things that you value, the things that are important, and prioritize those things in your life, in your planning. You have to have a plan. And as cliche as it sounds, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And it is so true. You know, you might not be as in depth with your planning, but you need to have some type of goal, some type of skeleton, some type of faith project, something that you are working towards, that
you're shooting for.
And so with that, you want to, you know, prioritize those things that you value in your life.
Because if you have priorities, if you have things that you place value on, it'll actually help you weed out a lot of extra stuff in your life that you may be wasting time with. So when other people come to you and they present different things that sound really good. You'll be
Yes.
able to look at your list of priorities and values and say, hey, this doesn't fit into my priorities.
Exactly.
And so easily you'll be able to just kind of write it off and say, yeah, I don't think that this is something that I can work with you on. I don't think that this is a project that I can take on. I don't think that this is something I can fulfill.
Yes.
Because at some point in this project, maybe midway through, I'm going to find that I'm neglecting or starving some other area that I value.
Yes.
That is going to end up kind of going up in flames or shutting down once it's neglected.
And lastly, make sure you give yourself grace. Now, it's something I wanted to share really quick. It was a point that I actually posted it on social media on my Instagram. So right now, make sure that you also go and subscribe or follow us on our Instagram channels. Shameless plug right there.
Yep.
For the Enjoy with Ty and Taryn Instagram page, as well as my personal and Ty's personal Instagram page. Keep up with us because we would love to just communicate and just build our Enjoy family. So this was something that I posted on my Instagram page, but I just want to read it to you all in case you don't follow me on Instagram. If Jesus couldn't say yes to everything, neither can we. You and I have limited time and resources to make the most of the time we have left. It is critical that we get super clear on what we believe God has called us to do and get in the habit of saying no to opportunities, even really good ones, that distract us from our essential mission. And so basically that kind of ties it all up. And the person who quoted that, because that wasn't my own quote, it was from Jordan Rayner. It's a book called Called to Create, and I haven't read all of the book yet, but just seen notes and stuff from it, and I thought that was a really good point that kind of goes along with what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So hopefully we answered the questions. Hopefully you got a lot from what we discussed today as far as balance.
Make sure you comment.
Yeah, comment below. And also, you know, some of you who are watching, you may know balance much better than we do.
So share in the comments.
You may have more kids. You may have been married much longer than us. You may have more things that you're juggling. But yeah, put it in the comments. Let us know how you balance. Give us some good hints because we're always looking to grow as well. We've been balancing this whole time. We've been talking between Tyler.
On this
Here comes the little one right now.
Y'all, we started preparing to record this video at what time?
I don't know, but it's...
And just things come up, and so you have to learn how to move and shift with everything. And see, here comes somebody now. But that is all for today.
That is not yours.
We thank you all for watching Enjoy with
Ty.
Taryn.
Say it.
What's your name, girl? What's your name, girl, friend?
Nameless and Tyler.
And Tyler. But yeah, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share the joy with your family, with your friends.
That's
so make
easy.
sure you can tell your mama now, with your auntie now.
All we gotta do is tell Taylor. Y'all look out for Taylor's Taylor wants her own show.
She really wants her own YouTube channel.
So
But that's right now. It's like, is it in our list of priorities? Like,
right. We have
a
a young vlogger coming up. Taylor, anything you want to tell the people watching right now?
She doesn't want to right now. She's got things to do. But
she hears
until
the
next
video
time, you all.
in there.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Really? You can't see yourself, huh?
Here she goes. Don't wake up, Tyler.
Cheese.
We're all done.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy.